the life in Medina del Campo and his vocation to Carmel. Medina, the number one commercial center, town or city of that time in Spain, promised better living conditions. And there was a belief that once you go to Medina, you can make a living. And Catalina, Francisco, Anna, along with the little boy John, moved to Medina. John was 9 years old at that time. Catalina, Francisco and Anna, they took up the weaving, and John was sent to an orphanage. But it has a beautiful name, Colegio de la Doctrina Cristiana. That is, the poor boys were admitted in that institution, and besides the schooling, they were also given a good Christian formation. But these children, to earn some income for the institution, had to do some work service outside. Thus John, along with 3 other boys, were assigned to the nearby Augustinian convent, the convent of St. Magdalene. Those days, the concelebration was not in practice, so every priest had to say Mass individually. Thus, in that convent there were daily 4 Masses. These boys had to serve the Mass and do the cleaning of the chapel and do some small services in the convent. And once they reach the high school, they had to leave that Colegio de la Doctrina. And sisters noticed something special in John of the Cross. So he recommended him to the director by name Alonso Alvarez, the director of a nearby hospital, so that he could do some work there and do the college. Unfortunately, that was a notorious hospital. It is called Hospital de las Bobas. That means hospital of pimples or boils. In other words, that was a hospital where people with venereal diseases and contagious diseases were treated. And John, to continue his studies, took up the work of a peon of this director and did 4 years of college with the Jesuits. And at the end of his college studies, by then he was 21, he wanted to join the Carmelite order. Though Alonso Alvarez promised to meet all his expenses if he joined the diocesan clergy, and he would also make him the future director and so on, John preferred the Carmelite vocation. There was the Carmelite monastery of St. Anne in Medina del Campo. The 2 motivations which prompted him to embrace the Carmelite vocation was devotion to Mary and his yearning for contemplative life. Thus he joined at the age of 21, did one of his formation in St. Anne's Monastery and was sent to Salamanca University for his theological studies. 4 years of theology. That was from 1564 to 68. But according to the program of Salamanca University for the seminarians, at the end of 3rd year, they would be ordained priests. And to complete the theology course, even though they are ordained priests, they had to come back. So that is how John comes to Medina del Campo, his own parish, to celebrate the first Mass in the parish. That was in summer or early September of 67. It so happened that Saint Teresa comes to Medina del Campo to found her second convent, cloistered convent. The first one, as you know, was St. Joseph's in Avila. That was in 62, August 24th. After 5 years, she wanted to start one in Medina. At the same time, she also wanted to introduce this reformed lifestyle among the friars. And when Father General, Father Rubeo or Father Rossi visited Spain, Mother obtained permission to do this reform work among the friars, and the Father General gave her the permission to start 2 foundations. So she was looking for the candidates for the Monastery of the Fathers, Reformed Monastery. First, she approached the superior of Medina del Campo himself, Father Antonio. But she was not that happy, because he was a man who was always holding high positions and leading a sort of posh life. Though, poor man, he generously offered to be one of the first. And without discouraging him, Mother kept him in the waiting list. And she was looking for another companion. And one whom besides Antonio, she met another young priest, Pedro de Orozco, from the same parish, classmate of John of the Cross, who also came to Medina for the first Mass. And Mother spoke to him. But he was rather shrewd. He was not prepared to start such an austere life. So she said, Mother, I would suggest another priest who is apt for this kind of austere life, sincere life, prayer life, contact, etc. And it is Pedro de Orozco who introduced John of the Cross to Saint Teresa. And by that time, John had determined to leave the Carmelite order and join the Carthusians. The reason was the austere life and the contemplative life he dreamt of was not found among the Carmelites of St. Anne's Monastery, Medina. And he told Mother about his future plans. Then Teresa said, Father, we can find the same aspirations in the Carmelite order. We can lead a contemplative life, we can lead an austere life, etc. And without leaving the Carmelite order. And John agreed for that. But he put a condition, and unless it takes too long, Mother agreed. And after the summer vacation, John goes back to Salamanca to complete his 4th year of theology and returns in 68 summer vacation time. By the time, Mother was offered a place, a farmhouse by a gentleman, a benefactor of Saint Teresa, Mr. Raffaello de Mejia. He owned a vast wheat field in a place called Duruelo. In the middle of that farm, there was a small farmhouse meant for the steward who went every year to collect the revenue. Afterwards, it was left. So practically 11 months a year, that was unoccupied. So he offered that place. And Mother wanted to have a look at that house. To her surprise or shock, that was a house full of dirt and dust and cobwebs and more. And the historians say it was full of worms. It was in the middle of the farm, no? And the sister who accompanied Mother, one Sister Antonia, she told Mother, however saintly a man may be, not a single person would spend one night in this house. It was so uninhabitable. And still, they wanted to start somewhere. In the meantime, John of the Cross was given some initial training by mother, taking him to a couple of foundations, and with the help of John, Antonio, and he said also Francisco was there for some time. They changed this house into a small little monastery. And there were 3 members, 1 deacon. Beside John, Antonio and John, another deacon also joined who later left. And that first foundation was done on the 28th of November 1560. That is 6 years after Mother started the reform among the nuns in Avila, St. Joseph's. She started the first house of reform in Durvelo, 28th of November 1560. That means after 6 years. And that monastery continued for 1.5 years. And another gentleman by name Raffaello, who offered a better house in a place called Mansera. By that time, the lifestyle, the contemplative life, simple life, attracted many young people. Some 14 young men joined the Carmelites. So they needed a study house. But before that, what attracted the youngsters were the reformed lifestyle, which consisted in going barefoot, especially in a cold country like Spain. To go barefoot was a tremendous penance. Though later a sort of slippers was allowed for sick people, and coarse habit. And besides the breviary or the liturgy of the hours, they were having 2 hours of meditation, one in the morning, one in the evening. Then 45 minutes more or less at midnight, the prayer called matins. And they had abstinence from meat. They observed the fast of the order from September 14 until Easter, on more than 6 months every year. And their lifestyle was simple. Their mattress was made of hay and a piece of wood for a pillow. Like that it goes on. And young men wanted to lead a real heroic life, and they liked it, they joined it. So for their better formation, they had to move from Mansera to another place near the Alcalá University, where John would be appointed the rector. And he will be there until 1572.